Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, this is going to be one of those classic videos. This is not a well-prepared, well-scripted video. Instead, what we are going to do is I am live right now on stream. The people watching me live know that, but you watching after the fact do not know that. But I am live right now on stream. We just chose a random Hack the Box retired machine that's also free, so other people can participate. I'll drop a link to the machine in the description of this video, but I'm going into it blind. I know nothing about this machine. I don't know what I'm going to encounter, so I'm going to show you my full methodology from enumeration to hopefully exploitation to hopefully privilege escalation, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go good. I don't know if it's going to go terrible. We're going into it blind and we will see what we are able to accomplish. So here we are, we're on the PermX machine. And once again, for those of you in chat, I will continue to answer questions. So feel free to ask questions and I'll jump back and look at those questions as we get these scans going. But we are provided with our IP address. So let me go ahead and grab our IP address here, open up my terminal. And the first thing I like to do is rustscan. Now you can just use nmap if you want. Rustscan, I just like it. It can pass all of the open ports to nmap and it does a good job. So we'll do rustscan. And we'll do -A, I believe, is the flag, drop in our port, and then -A. Now, confusing, I know. What this is doing is it's telling rustscan, hey, I want you to scan all the ports on this target IP. And then any open ports that you find, I want you to pass to nmap. And on nmap, I want you to run the command with the -A flag. That means throw all the enumeration scripts at it. So anything that's running on these ports, we want to enumerate and see what might possibly be there. And you can see our scan is already done and we'll take a look at the results. Now, before we do that though, I want to set up my notes. So I'm actually going to pull this over so I can tab over to it. But here are my notes. I use Notion and we're going to do / we'll open up a new page. Like so, and we'll call this PermX. Drop on our IP, and we'll also make this full width, and we'll just call this enumeration, and we'll drop in our nmap scan results here. So let's go ahead and grab the results like so. All right. Okay, let me look at chat. Before that, what did you study? So random videos, believe it or not, I was in pastoral ministry for 10 years. So I have a master's of divinity, which just means I spent like 3 years and a bunch of money on the academic level studying theology, philosophy, history, things like that. So I did that for the first 10 years of my career before switching to IT. Vikram said, I have a bachelor's in computer applications and currently completed Hack the Box CPTS, also subbed around 86% Hack the Box machines. Do you think this background is sufficient for entry-level roles in cybersecurity? Yeah, dude, the CPTS is amazing in and of itself. Definitely. I see a lot of people going from support to hacking. Is that a typical roadmap? There is no typical roadmap, but I think you see that often. That's my journey, but there's definitely nothing typical. All right. So when we look at this, we have port 22 open. Now, generally speaking, that's not going to be super useful to us until we find credentials. But we do know if we find credentials, we can get SSH access to the machine. So I want to keep that in our mind, but we know it's open. Nothing really to enumerate right away right now, but we do have port 80 open, which is a web server. We have Apache 2.4.52. I'm pretty sure that's a relatively updated version of Apache, so probably no crazy RCEs or CVEs for that. We see that's really all we have on this web server. So we're going to spend most of our time, it looks like, enumerating this web server and seeing what is all going on. Now, I may even need to update this. Let me pull up Kaido. It might be out of date, but we'll just go with it. Or Kaido is rather how you say it. If you've never heard of Kaido, Kaido is sort of like Burp Suite, but it's written from the ground up in Rust, and it's cheaper and more, well, it is more affordable, but without even a paid subscription, so the free version of Kaido, you're not rate limited on everything like you are in Burp. So let's go ahead and create a project, and we will call this PermX, which you can see I do need to update, but we'll update later. That's fine. We'll go over to Intercept, and we're going to open up our built-in browser like so. Then we don't have to worry about the proxies. And we'll also save this IP to our Etsy host file. Now, our etc host file in Linux is how it resolves IPs to domain names. So if you think about like your cell phone, if you call someone on your phone, you don't generally have to type in their phone number, you type in their name. So if I'm calling JGold or JMod, if I type in JMod in my phone, it will pull up his phone number, right? Well, that's kind of what etc host does. It resolves the IP to the name of the website. And to make our life a little bit easier, we'll do that with this IP right here. So we'll do sudo nano etc host. Drop down here, drop it in, and we'll call it permx.hackthebox like so. See if we can ping it, and we can. Beautiful. Go over to Kaido. And actually, the other thing I want to do before I even start enumerating is I like to make a to-do list. So we'll call this like our web app to-do list. Now, this is really important for those of you who are studying for the OSCP. The OSCP is notorious for different rabbit holes, for getting you to fall into a rabbit hole, wasting all your time there. Next thing you know, you failed the exam. I always encourage people to do, before you begin enumerating something, make a to-do list of things you want to check. The reason I encourage you to do it before you start enumerating is once you start enumerating, that's exactly what happens. You'll fall into a rabbit hole, you'll waste your time, you'll miss things. So always make a to-do list that you can go back to while your mind is still fresh before falling into the rabbit hole of the machine. So our web app to-do list, we can check for virtual hosts, check for directories, check the source code, check robots.txt. All right, check virtual host, directories, source code, robots.txt. That's a good starting point there. So let's go ahead and get some of these scans running before we begin enumerating. So I think if I could type. There we go. So I have a vhost fuzzer, and I'll show this to you guys if you want to use it yourself. It's just a very simple script I wrote. So if you go to github.com, tenebrae93, that is my GitHub. Let me drop a link to this in the chat. All right, there you go. And now if we go over to offensive security here, you can see, if you scroll through here, there is a little tool called the vhostfuzzer.sh, and this is a tool that I'm going to use for fuzzer vhost because I always forget the syntax for fuff. So if you want to follow along with the tool, that's where you can find it. But we'll just go home, Tyler, tools, vhostfuzzer.h, and it says, hey, this script is a vhost fuzzer using fuff for people who may forget the syntax like me. And you can see the syntax is very easy. Our domain is going to be permx.hackthebox. Our word list, we can use share, dirbuster, directory, this 2.3, medium.txt. Our URL is going to be permx.hackthebox. FS filter, we don't know what that's going to be, so we'll just do 1, and we will let it run. Although it should come up with content saying, hey, this doesn't exist when I do 1, and then we generally update the filter. So that's odd. We'll just ignore that and hope everything's fine. Now we're going to do dir search, is the tool I like to use for directory brute forcing. You can see the syntax here, very easy to use. We just need to pass it in our URL, and it has a word list built in that honestly does a pretty good job. So we'll do dir search -u permx.hackthebox, and we'll get that started. And if we look over at our to-do list, right here, we have our virtual host check, directories check. Now we can finally go to the website and see what is running on here. We'll go to permx.hackthebox. Oh, did I mistype the URL? Gosh, I'm dumb. Oh, I did. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. There, that's what I was trying to get to do. So we want to filter by size. So we need to set our FS filter to 283. So let's do that. And okay. All right, can I filter? So it's all in the 200s. What if I do like... All right, well, we see that size of 36182 of the www, so we might need to add that. All right, we'll keep that in mind. Actually, we can add it right now, if it would even matter. www. All right. Oh, is this not doing anything on this page? We're just stuck at loading, eh? Wonder if it's something weird with my browser. Let's check. Let's go over to Firefox. Okay, it is just something weird with my browser. Maybe. There we go. Maybe I need to add the www so it would load the scripts or something. Anyways, we'll check more into our scans in a moment. Before we check into our scans, though, let's just do some manual enumeration. What exactly is on this website? So we have the best online courses, the best online platform for learning. We have skilled instructors, online classes, home projects, blah, 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 blah. Read more doesn't go anywhere. We have some random stuff. Are these images at all? All right, can we access the image directory? That doesn't look like a cat. So if this was a pen test, this would actually be a finding. It would be an informational finding, maybe a low finding, but there's directory listing. So this is actually something you would want to report to a client, but we have directory listing on the image here. Now, the reason that's an issue is if we can upload stuff and we might be able to access a shell, but here it doesn't seem to be a big issue, but it is at least an informational or a low that you would report. And I guess we could do that ourselves. Just open up FlameShot. And we'll just grab a screenshot of that. We'll just go like that. Go over to our notes. Save directory listing. Come on, it doesn't take that long to upload the picture. Bruh. All right, that's cool. That's cool, Notion. Whatever, Notion. I didn't like you anyways. Oh, there we go. All right, I like you again, Notion. So we have directory listing as a very minor finding as we look at this web app. Parent directories is going to bring us back to the website. Tiny Dean said, good evening. I want to ask you if it's possible for a person with a 4-year-old child who's already been working in programming for about 15 years to change and move to cybersecurity. Yes. I am trying to do so by taking a course in Italy of CPH and penetration tester, but I'm having a lot of trouble finding the right time to study and practice. Would we better leave my job and focus entirely on changing careers? I apologize for the length. I wouldn't recommend leaving your job fully, but so dude, when I changed to IT, I had, 4 years ago, 5, 6, 7. I had a 3-year-old daughter and a newborn son. Yeah, he would have just been born. So I had a 3-year-old daughter and a newborn, and I was working as a pastor full-time while working in IT full-time while going to school full-time. It was a grind, but it's doable. I did that for about 7 months, knocked out my bachelor's degree, but legit. As a pastor, I still had full-time duties, preaching, teaching every weekend, counseling, all of that stuff. But on top of that, I was working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday at an in-person job doing IT support while getting my degree through WGU. Tell the programmer to go to cyber events and talk with people. If Jerry was here, he would give you his networking spiel, but yeah. Networking's good. The reason, JMod, I don't say that is because I don't do that. There's no cyber events in my area, so that's usually not something I think of. You worked as a pastor? Yeah, for 10 years I did. I was a church planner. But yeah, I will say if you guys want to learn more about that side of me, I don't like to push religion on people. But for those who are interested in it, I have a separate YouTube channel right here. Theology with Tyler. Let me stop that real quick so it doesn't play. But you can check out this YouTube channel. I post there pretty often as well. But that's where I talk more about my faith. But anyways, back into our hacking for the day. Build on. So while was Hacking Fest was sold out when I looked at it, to be fair. Without buying training. We have some email enumeration. I mean, probably not going to be super helpful for us here. We see some theme wagon, HTML codecs, nothing super interesting. We have our gallery. These all just lead to nothing. Courses go somewhere. So we have a course catalog. Web design, online marketing, video editing, graphic design. We have popular courses, all taught by John Doe. He must be a good instructor, but these don't go anywhere. What's pages? Our team. So this can be helpful too, because now we have employee enumeration. So if we do find a login form, we'll want to come back to this, that we have possible employee names: Noah, Elsie, Ralph, and Mia. And just team one, so nothing super interesting there. We have a 404 page, that's cool. Contact for any query, right? We could just see test at test.com. You can see how often I do this. We'll do that. We'll see if this even goes anywhere. We'll turn on queuing, hit send message, and it doesn't do anything. So sometimes when you see this, we might be able to get like cross-site scripting to go through, do some type of phishing email. We do have a download. What's this download now? Oh, that goes actually back to HTML codecs. What's join now? Join now just goes to contact. So really just a static, typical marketing website. Nothing too interesting here. We'll look at our scans in a second. I'm about to fight you at DEF CON. I'll fight you at DEF CON. I can bring boxing gloves, dude. I'm working a blue-collar job now, but I want to work as a coder. Do you have any advice on what direction I should take? I don't do coding type stuff, so I can't really help with that. I would say projects on GitHub and networking would be what I would shoot for. Is there any specific findings bank you use that list potential findings during a pen test? Yes. Most pen test organizations that you work for will have internal pen testing software. Where I work, it's really awesome software, and we have like a bank of vulnerabilities. So that's what we can use. But if you just look at pen test guides online, you can get a bunch of vulnerabilities. For me, since I've done pen testing now, like every day for 2 years, I don't need to look at something. I know exactly when something's a vulnerability that should be brought to a client and when something isn't, just from experience. All right, let's go back and look at our enumeration here. Our vhost, we have the www, and we know that. We have JavaScript there. That's not super helpful. None of this is interesting. We do have a license.txt, which might tell us what technology is running on the back end. So let's check that out. Oh, this is just the free HTML template. You are not allowed to use for your personal and commercial purposes. Oh, you are allowed to use for your personal and commercial purposes. Gotcha. Are you allowed to use it as a CTF? Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, we have that. What if we do this? On www, and if I go there, is this different? No, okay, it just redirects. Got it. And was there any other vhost that we discovered? Oh, wow, this is big. All right. Oh, I saw something. No, it's just www. I saw something. Gosh. www again. All right. Okay. Interesting. So I don't think there's any other vhosts. Our dirt search doesn't show up too much. We have this library. We can check this out. Ooh, okay. Okay, this might be interesting. Jerry's asleep when it comes to fighting. Bro, I finally caught you live. I watch a lot of your YouTube videos, and you've really helped me on my learning journey. I'm planning on take the OCP exam mini test for AWS. It's really confusing. AWS is confusing. The only way to get better is you just have to work with it constantly. Yeah, I know I need a filter. I tried to filter, but the sizes are all similar. If I don't find anything here, well, I guess here, we can do this. That'll filter better right there. And we'll run that. Make sure I didn't miss any vhosts while I look at this. All right, we can look at things here. Just seeing if there's anything interesting for us, but this just seems to be static. Static stuff. Yeah. Okay, so that's not really that helpful. Ooh. We have LMS right there. So that's going to be interesting. Let's add that to our vhosts. And I bet that's what I need is fine. I'm just going to stop that. Let's grab LMS and we'll do sudo nano etc hosts. And we'll add that, which makes sense if it's a catalog of courses. Or the lms.permx.hackthebox like so. Go back over to here. And now we have a portal. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're getting somewhere. Let's go ahead and dir search this. We'll do this while we enumerate it manually. Oh, not LMX, LMS. All right, it's finding some interesting stuff, but before we dig into that, let's look at this manually. We have Camilo, e-learning and collaboration software. We do admin, admin. I just want to see what this login field looks like. Pull up Kaido, turn on queuing, hit login, throw this over to replay, hit send, and we just get 302 found. What if I just drop in a single quote? All right, 302 found, password incorrect. Submit auth. All right, nothing super interesting there. Forward. We get this GET request. We get an error. Can I customize the error just for fun? This is what I would try to do in a real pen test. Can I say like, please sub? No, okay, I can't modify the error message. Sometimes you can get cross-site scripting by doing that in a real pen test. All right. Let's jump back over to this. I lost my password. Username, admin at hello.com. Another thing to look for in a real pen test would be whether or not there's username enumeration. So if you get a different response for a valid username versus an invalid username, that would count as user enumeration. And this just redirect me again? Okay, so that doesn't do anything. All right, jump back over to here. Homepage, we can look up this Camilo thing. Camilo, if I'm saying that right. Okay, we have some remote code execution. That might be helpful, eh? Unrestricted file upload and the big file upload functionality there allows unauthenticated attackers to perform stored cross-site scripting attacks and obtain remote code execution via uploading a web shell. Well, that sounds exactly what I'm looking for. So here we have an exploit from ExploitDB. We just give it our... Oh, this one you have to be an administrator. This is unauthenticated. All right, maybe these are different. Let's check out this one. Can I first run the exploit to know how to use it? Like that. Path to reverse shell, host link where the file will be uploaded, port for the reverse shell. All right, well, let's give this vulnerability a shot. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. We have a bunch of files here that we could also dig into. We'll leave that open. We'll get clone. Pull that down. We'll make it executable. And there we go. Let me go ahead and just make my text overall bigger for you guys so I don't have to keep having to zoom in. We'll just say like 24. All right. So it says this. We need to give it a path to the reverse file, a host link where the file will be uploaded, and a port for the reverse shell. All right, sounds good. We could actually look at this too. What's it even doing would be a good idea. Oh, the text too big is throwing me off. Let me just look at this in GitHub. So usage function. Just accepting the arguments there. Check if all files are required. All right, so it's just doing a curl request to that big upload file thing that we saw before on this post unsupported. So it's bypassing auth, uploading the file, and then navigating to the reverse shell to execute it. All right, that seems easy enough. I need to make this, the text is too big. Sorry, y'all. We need to make this a little bit smaller. Let's go for like 18. All right. Let's give this a shot. We have CVE. We will do, we need the reverse file. So we can just grab a quick reverse file. Do I have this downloaded? I don't think I have this downloaded. Let me show you guys. What is that extension called? I made a whole video about this extension. Is it Hack Tools? Extension for Firefox? Yes. Guys, if you've never used this extension, you need to check it out. Let me drop it in the chat for the live stream. We're going to add this to Firefox. Add. Okay. Let me show you how cool this extension is. If we pull it up, Hack Tools, we can go ahead and make this full screen mode. That's how I like to use it. And now we have this pulled up. We will go down. We want to be nice to our hacker eyes by changing this to dark mode. All right, and now we have a bunch of different things here, right? We can get PHP reverse shells. We can stabilize our shells. But for this, we can just use a basic bash reverse shell. We can put in our IP here, which is 10.10.14.6, and port. We're a hacker, so we'll, of course, use port 1337. And we can just go ahead and copy the reverse shell. Although this is a web server, so we want to do PHP. Would be the better way of doing this. We'll grab this. We'll download the source code for that reverse shell.php. And we'll cp from downloads reverse shell.php. Does it automatically put my IP in there for me too? Beautiful. All right, I've changed this port. Okay, cool. Now we can do this. So we will do f PHP reverse shell, or reverse shell PHP, host link where the file will be uploaded. That's going to be http lms.permx.hackthebox, and our port is 1337. Look at that. And we have a shell, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and document this for our notes. Copy that. Go over to our notes, and we'll say reverse shell established. Drop a screenshot, and also we'll drop some information here of the exploit that we used. So I'll go over to, it was this, not that exploit. It was this exploit right here. So we'll grab that, drop it in our notes, and there we go. We are in, we have a shell. Now what we can do is stabilize our shell, which is actually what it says to do right here. It even tells you the syntax. Amazing. Use this for interactive TTY. So usually I have to look at my hack tricks, which I'm pretty sure that shows the same thing. All right, Hack Tools. Well, I'll just show you how to do it from Hack Tools because the tool doesn't usually tell you how to do it, but it tells you very specifically how to do it. So we can just copy this to give ourselves a little more stable of a shell. We'll go to that, then we'll do that. All right, and then it says we need to background the shell, and then back in our own terminal do that. All right, and then there we go. Now we have a more stable shell, and we can just cd over to home. Who do we have in home? So we have a user called mtz, and we cannot access mtz. So that's fine. Now we can begin just hunting for different credentials. We could run tools like linps and things like that, but let's just first begin with some manual enumeration. We can see what groups we are in, which is just www data, which is kind of what I expected. But if we cd over to something like var, we might be able to access www. And here we have the Chamilo thingy. We can check that out. And here is where we might be able to find some interesting information. So somewhere here, we might have a password, and we might be able to use password reuse. I see a lot of things that we could look for. We could check like web config and see if there's anything here. We could also just like grep ir password. Oh, that's going to give us a bunch of junk that we don't need. All right. I don't want to control C because I don't want to kill my shell. There we go. So we'll do this manually. We'll check out a few of these. If I cat like CLI config.php, what do we have here? Do we have any passwords? We do not. The other thing we can do, cat user.php. So we have the database parameters here. Directory, API. How about here? Is this what I need to grab? Configuration file. So this is in the app thing, cd config. What was that other file? Configuration.php. Does that not exist here? We have an auth config.php, config.yaml, configuration.php. Hey, what is up, Dongle House? Good to have you here. First time seeing live. Thank you, Brian, for joining and hanging out with us. Okay, so this is some type of configuration. But I don't know how helpful it is for us. This just seems to be like default stuff showing like how to use it. We grep for password. We have this database password here. All right. This is Camilo or whatever. Let's do this. We are doing PermX from Hack the Box. I kind of new to this, yet I am to grasp what you are doing. Good content, man. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Let me stop sharing my screen just for a moment. We're going to speed up this process. All right, I'm authenticated. Where does Camilo store passwords on the server side of things? So do we need to get that password? Surely it's somewhere in this config, but I just don't feel like reading all of these. There's so many that it could be. We have auth config. Did I already check that? All right. We are just going to hit this beast with linpeas, so I don't waste my time enumerating stuff that I don't need to enumerate. If you are new, what linpeas is, it's a bash script that just does a bunch of enumeration for you. You can download it off of GitHub. I'm going to copy it to my current directory. I'm going to host a basic Python web server on port 80, and then from our victim machine, we are going to download it with wget 10.10.14.6 linpeas.sh. Like so, we're going to go ahead and make linpeas executable, and then we're going to run it. And we'll see if linpeas can find the password information better than me. Oh, we saw the pass already? Oh, am I dumb? Did I somehow miss it? I probably did, didn't I? Oh, well. We'll go back. What up, Tim Boy? Big fan. Really enjoy your Active Directory videos. Hey, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate having you here. All right, linpeas, what do you got for us? Otherwise, we'll go back and keep looking at our password that I apparently saw and missed, like most things. That's the other fun thing about streaming, guys. If you don't live stream, you will. Why is all this stuff exposed to the internet? You may not realize this, but anytime I'm streaming or like sharing my screen, I miss the most obvious things that I would see if I was just doing it offline. And I don't know what it is about it. Like trying to talk, look at chat, hack a machine all at the same time is just too much going on for my brain to process at times. Yeah, I probably can. I think I did see the database password, didn't I? I didn't know if that database password was just like a test config password or if it was the legit database password. But you know, I should, instead of just assuming it's not, I should just try it. Let's just try that. I'm going to stop linpiece. Let's go back over to var ww Chamilo. Wow. Learn how to type, you freaking noob. That was in, I saw it in the Chamilo docs. Where did I see it? Was it in, dang it, where was I at? It was like configuration or something. Okay, give me a second. Let me figure out where I was at. App config, that's where I was at. What? Okay, I'm pretty sure that was a directory, but we'll say it wasn't. And then I think I catted configuration.php and I grepped password. And we have this database password right there. So let's just grab that. I don't know if it's going to be helpful to us or not, but let's give it a shot. We pull up our notes. Let's just drop it there for the database password. And now, there's MySQL on here. Who's the MySQL user, do you think? Do we have the user information? What if we type... Oh, and the database user is Camilo, so we can see it right there. So if we do MySQL-u Camilo-p, and it should prompt for our password, and we'll grab the password right here. Jump back over to here, enter in our password. Beautiful, and we can do show databases. We have the database Camilo, so we can say use Camilo and show tables. We have a user table, so if we select everything from user, and now we have some information. You can see it looks a little bit sloppy, but we have our admin user right there, and then their hash, their password hash, it would appear. We have a super admin. I don't know why this is broken up like that, but let's go ahead and first just grab this for our notes. So we'll say we discovered database credentials. The file that we got these in, I want to make sure I document my notes well. And this is one thing I always recommend, y'all. Don't rush ahead to complete a machine. Make sure you document what you are doing. That is by far one of the best things that you can do. All right, so it was configuration.php. And it was Chamilo, and then this password up above. All right. We have that. And yeah, we could try password reuse. You're right. We could try that to see if there is password reuse for our other user before I even dig into the database. That's probably a good idea. I will just grab this information right here. Then we'll drop it in our notes. There's our user table. And yeah, let's just try password reuse because we see that a lot of times in the real life. And we'll switch over to MTZ. ask for the password. Let's just see if MTZ might be using the same password. Oh, look at that. And we do have password reuse. Beautiful. And we can say, hey, we discovered password reuse, which is something I see in the real world on pen tests pretty often. We abused password reuse and got access to the MTZ account. All right, so now we have MTZ. We can CD over to that. We can at least get our user flag, and we have that information. We'll drop that in our notes as well. And we'll also add that over to Hack the Box so we can get credit. Whoops, so we can get credit for our flag. I would say that was pretty easy, pretty straightforward, no rabbit holes. All right, now we need to focus on elevating our privileges. Do we have any pseudo privileges? Okay, interesting. So user MTZ may run the following commands on PermX as root. So let's go ahead and add that to our notes as well. We have some privilege escalation to take in our notes. We'll just make a new thing. What's MTZ? I don't know what MTZ if it has a deeper meaning, but right now it's just the name of the account. So this account could be Tyler, it could be Smileax, it's just the name of the account. So what this means is without a password, we can run this script as the root user. So our next step is to figure out what is in this script. So if we can cat it out, we'll look at the script a little bit closer. All right, we'll grab right there. So this is the script. User perm file exit. So we have, it accepts a user argument, permissions argument, and a target. If the target does not equal home MTZ, so if it's not in our home folder, then back out, then echo access denied, exit 1. Check if the path is a file. If the target, if the target equals a file, then target must be a file, exit 1, user, blah, blah. So we can go ahead and grab this. This is going to be our way to privilege escalation, and we can say, hey, we'll see if ChatGPT can help. So we have user control parameters. The script takes user input for the target file, permissions, and user, which are then used in sudo set facl command that grants specified permissions to a specified user on the target file. Although there's an attempt to validate the path, this validation can be bypassed. Symbolic links, so of course. MTZ could potentially use symbolic links or hard links to point to a sensitive files outside of home MTZ. Inadequate path check. The script only checks that the path begins with home MTZ, but doesn't ensure it's actually inside this directory, allowing relative paths or tricky symlinks to access critical system files. The system's primary function is to modify permissions using set facl, which could allow MTZ to set their own user with high privileges on sensitive files if they can point to files outside of their home directory. Example attack scenario. If MTZ can exploit the validation check, they could grant themselves read or write permissions to files outside of home MTZ, including system files. This could allow them to gain access to sensitive configuration files, potentially modify executable files or scripts that run through privileges, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So what? Manage to trick the script. So we need to do a symlink. What it is for Twitch. ChatGPT will explain symbolic link better than me, but it's basically like almost like a hyperlink that points to something else. So a symbolic link is a file that points to another file directory, like I said, acting as a shortcut. So I think about it like a hyperlink. When you access the symlink, it's like accessing the file or directory it points to. Attackers sometimes use symlinks to trick scripts or processes into operating on files they wouldn't normally have access to by exploiting path restrictions. So to create a symlink, so I think about a hyperlink. Like I could give you a hyperlink that says hacksmutter.org, but I can modify the link so it actually points to a rickroll, almost like a symlink. Via like a rickroll symlink is how I like to think about this. So let's just give this a shot. Whether or not it will work, I don't know, but let's try it out. So we'll do that. And we have the fake password there. So now if we run the one script, we're going to point to our fake password. So sudo l, who was it again? All right, so we'll do sudo opt acl.sh. But we're going to go to home, mtz, fake password. Okay. What did that just do? Why did it just disappear? I don't have write permissions to Etsy password. It's not here anymore. Whoops. Okay, so now we have fake password there. That goes to Etsy password. Maybe I read the script wrong. Let's go back to my notes. Permissions. Can I do like... Okay. Oh, it didn't delete it that time. Okay. All right, I think now if we nano... What, did I break it? I took away my permissions instead of giving myself with permissions. Okay. How did I manage to do that? I need to read how to use this. Okay, so how can we modify? So we modify the ACL. And if we want the ACL to equal right, would be W, would it not? Let me look at this. Oh, I used only write permissions. I need to use read and write permissions, I bet. So I could write to it, but I can't read it. I bet that's how I broke it. And now it's gone again. All right, let's try this. That makes sense in my head. If I do the symbolic link again, right there. Then if I run the same command, wait, did I miss it? think I can just remove root's password like so. And I'm root. Look at that. So what I did there, that X in Etsy password, I'll show that to you again because I did it kind of fast. In Etsy password, way back in the day, Etsy password used to actually hold the passwords for the users. Now they're hashed in Etsy shadow. But the X in each one of these passwords is a placeholder for the password. So if you're able to write to Etsy password, all you need to do is if you remove the X for any user, it essentially removes the password for that account. And because we want to be the root account, we can just remove root user's password by removing that X. And now we are root. We can go over to root and cat root.text, and we now have the final flag. And we successfully completed the machine. We'll drop that flag in there. We'll hit submit, and boom, there we go. PermX has been pwned. Congratulations, Tenebrae. Best of luck in capturing the flags ahead. And I gave you the full real-time thought process, full methodology, blind approach, but we were able to solve it. So overall, I enjoyed that machine. Nice and easy, but still teaches some good enumeration, looking at vhost, doing some privilege escalation, looking at a script, doing symlink. So very good lab. Kudos to the creator of this lab. Thank you for it. And for those of you watching this, whether live or after the fact on YouTube, hopefully you enjoyed it and learned something through the process. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you in the next one.